It's the 2020 election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
Oh, wow. Look at the boat, Chad. That's like the Chad right there. You know that? We're all just on a giant boat. Oh, little by God bless America. Oh, amen. Amen. Look at that, Chad. I'm going to see you on stream. YouTube.com/the stock market. Oh, we're going to see you there, baby. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wow. I feel like this is like a home video. This is like home video style. What's going on, Chad? All right, I need to adjust this for a little bit. All right, I think we're good right now, but I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. I was going to go and wait till I got home, but I had the camera with me. I mean, we were doing some real estate here in beautiful San Diego. We were talking about downtown, even on stream there on Friday, so God bless you, Chad. But I want to talk today about the East Asian financial crisis. Now, why this is important is, one, I mean, it's historical, macroeconomic. It's always cool stuff to learn, but there's three big things that happened back then that are happening right now, and it's kind of crazy. Here's the thing, you know, I'm not being dramatic about it. This one isn't as dramatic, but the key takeaway is how important Fed policy is and how Fed policy affects the rest of the world. And for you, that means you're going to have opportunities probably for the rest of the year to make a bunch of different plays. What I'm trying to tell you is that, yes, when the Fed, you know, raises rates, you see how people react to growth stocks, value stocks, all of that, but it's bigger than that. That's what I'm trying to tell you, and it has a lot of bigger implications. If you guys remember on stream, just the other day, we were listening to Powell, Georgieva, the Bali, it was a Bali or Balnoji, Indonesia, I don't know. It was a couple of other countries, but you even heard them joking around about how they're like kind of waiting for Powell to move, and whatever Powell does, that is really important. So can't wait to share this with you. Again, I want you to keep this in mind. Don't panic with it, but I hope exposure to this can give you a lot more insight. And now I'm just going to briefly touch on it. You could go look this up. There's a lot of good resources on it, but you'll see basically what happened. Simply 1997 East Asian financial crisis. It was a bunch of fears in East Asia. You know, they had a lot of problems with all of these different countries from Malaysia to Indonesia. Some were better. Even China and Japan got affected, but people started freaking out, and then they started worrying about a worldwide collapse. So here's the good part. It was short-lived. It didn't last more than a couple of years. Literally by 1999, most of the problems happened July 1997, but by July 1999, or even just 1999, everything was recovered. You had a recovery. People stopped freaking out. Pretty much what happened, a bunch of hot money, again, easy money, and people were very speculative. It started going to Asia because they had high rates and they had fixed currencies in places, and once they dropped the fixes, that's what started, you know, getting to a lot of problems. They even had a bunch of crony capitalism. They were, you know, a big part about the East Asian financial crisis. It's not the main point for here, but this is where, you know, people argue, you know, what caused it. A lot of it just came back down to mismanagement of money. There was a lot of crony capitalism. A lot of people got a lot of money. It was very attractive to rates, but then people were in power, and they, you know, they got the job just because they were related to people. They didn't handle it well. There was a lot of moral hazard and risk, but essentially what started happening, they had all of these high rates. They had a bunch of these hot monies. It was an economic bubble, and then the United States of America started raising rates. You pair that with a couple of external crises, you know, money started leaving the country, assets started going down, and then people started to default. Again, like I'm saying, this was something that was like both short-lived, but, you know, it freaked people out on a big scale. Kind of reminiscent of Evergrande. I don't know if you could relate it there. I say it's kind of worse than Evergrande because you actually had defaults. You actually had bailouts. Even the IMF, they came in, they stepped in with money, and it was actually even controversial then. Again, there was a lot of crony capitalism, borderline corruption, you know, call it what you want. I mean, this was the early 90s. You even see how they react to the 1DB trial, 1MDB trial as of late. But keep all of this in mind, but that's pretty much what happened. But now, here is the point that I want you guys to understand. Is there's just three things that happened then that are happening right now. And one thing I'll say with that is that, you know, back then, it was still a short-lived situation, and I think now we may be a little better insulated. That's why I think, as we start to see this unfold, pretty much as the, Powell starts to raise rates, we are going to have to watch these things, watch these similarities, watch the yen, watch the yuan. We've been talking about this, but it's just going to play out a little differently. Back then, things were a little bit more unstable. So keep that in mind. I don't think this will be too crazy, but I do think this is going to be a source of play, an opportunity, kind of like Evergrande was, but maybe a little bit bigger. But here are the three similarities. During this time, one big thing that started to be an external weakness that started to lead to these defaults, one, the Chinese yuan started to devalue. So there was a big Chinese yuan devaluation there in the late 90s, and that was a problem because, again, it started to upset these currencies. The big problem was a lot of people were borrowing in dollars, putting their money overseas to get these yields, and they were going to different countries. Again, they would raise all of this money and put it places, but now when the value of things would change, it started to change pretty much certain investments, swaps, all of that. But simply, if you borrowed in dollars and then the Chinese yuan or your Japanese yen started to weaken, that means you actually owe more in debt, believe it or not. Because again, think about it. Your currency is yen. That weakens in value. The amount of dollars you take is fixed. So if your yen is weakened, that means it's going to take you more yen to get the same amount of dollars. So you have to get more yen, convert it to dollars, and then still pay the amount. And literally, the dollar started strengthening. Even one thing that happened there, you even saw semiconductor prices go down. And it's kind of like here today, and maybe that could explain some of the moves that we see here, but the thing that's more similar is that our currencies, the Asian countries pegged their currencies to ours. So as the dollar started to strengthen, their currencies started to strengthen. It made them less competitive, and then one by one, some of them are like, hey, we can't do this, we gotta weaken. China was one of them, and then now here's the next one, the Japanese yen. The yen started to weaken. So both of these things are happening now. These are the charts right here, right now, but this is the crazy part about it, because what it's telling you, or at least here for today, when the yen weakens, it's usually a safe haven currency. Again, it was either back then pegged to the dollar, so if the dollar was strengthening, the yen should have strengthened, but even now, with everything they've done over the years, it has been a deflating currency. But as of now, we're watching it increase. Bro, is this guy sinking? Nah, y'all ain't see that, bro. Bro, I swear he was sinking. But like I was saying now, the yen weakening, this is one of the signals, and this is one thing we got to watch for. But then finally, very, very simply, this was the real thing in the core of the matter. And this happened back then. It's the same thing that happened now. The United States was coming off of a recovery, an economic recovery, and they were trying to stop inflation based on how they handled their recovery. So they were using inflation as a tool. This was Greenspan during that time. So hopefully you can see how all of these are exactly the same. We're watching this happen, and pretty much now over the next few years, we want to see, do we start to see a credit crunch, or now do we start to see money leave some of these places, come into the United States, and do we get a negative effect pretty much on all of these emerging market assets, and then eventually it could feed into worldwide fears of collapse or anything like that. Granted, our situation's different. We're dealing with a lot more stuff. That's why I think this is going to be important here, but hopefully you could see last time we had these three factors happen, it led to something. The Fed dictates a lot for a lot of other countries, and now this is one thing you got to keep in mind over the next coming months here. Even in the short term, we're going to see a lot of stuff, but just don't forget, when the Fed begins to raise rates, it is going to have an impact on other countries, trade deficits, all of that, the balances. So keep this in mind, because there's probably going to be a playing opportunity there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I mean, I had a lot of fun there. I know, a quick 10 minutes. I got a nice view. It's very important. I'm excited with it, but this was beautiful. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, EWG in Europe, I think we're going to get a lot of news. I'm going to have a watch list for you tomorrow, but get ready for a big earnings season. It's going to be excited, and I love you, Chad, and God bless you, and have a wonderful weekend, and have good work. You will reap what you sow, baby. Amen. God bless you, Cole. Peace out.